that affected you or hurt you. I'm learning too, just as I do each and every show. Last night I spoke to my Bishop, Tony D'Onofrio, and I was telling him some of the stuff that I do on TV. He says, Vic, you've got to walk as a man of love. You've got to be on TV, and people got to identify with you as a man of love. You're not going to get on TV and start offending people and they're going to enjoy listening to you. He says, you're not called to bring every person to repentance. He says, you could try. He said, but you know what, Vic? You got to walk like Christ. You got to walk loving people. And I want to tell you something. Some of you know Bishop D'Onofrio, some of you don't. That's a man that I tell you, I've seen the odds against him, and he's not reviled back. I don't know who's listening now that knows him, but I'm with him, and I sit with him, and I see a man that doesn't judge things. I've seen things that, I would say, wait a minute, we got to deal with that. And he says, no. See, he just believes, like I'm starting to believe, that there's a kingdom that we're becoming a part of. John 3:3 says you could see that kingdom as you become born again. He says, and that kingdom has nothing to do with the kingdom of this world. He said, so my mind is in the kingdom ahead. He says, and people are going to make mistakes. This is what he teaches me behind closed doors. Leave room. Be flexible, Victor. Be flexible with people. Understand people make mistakes. Understand in each and every one of us, there's quirks, there's things that we do. I'm the kind of guy, I come to a party, and I'm the life of the party. But every now and then I'll say something, and it becomes offensive. I know that about me. Do you know the things you do wrong? The things we do wrong, we've got to learn to monitor them. We got to build on our strengths and our weaknesses. We got to ask God to support our weaknesses, that we're not so frail. For years I walked around a half an hour a day with a tape recorder. My dad advised me this as a young man in business. He said, put a tape recorder and listen to what you sound like. Because he used to listen to me when he put me in business 30 years ago. He would come down and listen, and he'd say, Vic, you're coming off wrong. So I think he brought me the tape recorder. I put it in my pocket, and I listened to myself. At the end of the day, my God, I offended more people. I offended people left and right. I didn't realize that I was condescending to people. I didn't realize that, I had the penguin attitude, like I've got it all together, you don't. But I want to tell you, when I listened back to these 15-minute, half an hour things, I was starting to say, God, you got to help me with this. You got to help me. And I want to tell you something. The first thing I learned to do is ask people for forgiveness. I even was talking to the producer this morning. I said, when I write people an email, I could offend people in an email because I'm not the greatest writer. So my thoughts sometimes come out harsh. But you don't know that if I write you an email. So you take it like, who's this guy writing this email to me? I even asked people to forgive me. I even asked the producer to forgive me today. And God's really been speaking to me about totally forgiving your brother. Now, let me tell you another thing, a little trick here. We could say we forgive Susie and Joey and Frank and John and Bob Stokes. We could say we forgive them all. But I want to say this to you. If we forgive them, we should be able to be in the same company with them. I don't want to forgive them from a distance. Then when I run into them, I get those butterflies in my stomach. That's not forgiveness. That's just saying, I'll stay away from that person, let God deal with them. I'm talking about we've got to come into a maturity of forgiveness where we love our brother and sister in spite of their shortcomings. And we've got to just start to do this even in a small way. We're out of time here. It goes so quick. And I enjoy these shows as much as you do. And I hope that you turn in every Sunday at 9 o'clock. I hope you even come out today, get dressed early, and come out to the upper room, 11 a.m. service at 722 Deer Park Road, Dix Hills, New York. And I'm going to do this as a series. Next week, I'm going to talk to you about the next part of this visitation when I was in the coma and I